Okay, so I'm back. I will start from ozone. Okay, so let's recap or revise what I have said just now, so it will be easy to for us to relate when we go to H2SO4. So ozone is O3, right? It is prepared in the Siemens ozonizer, right? Which consists of two coaxial glass tubes which is coated with tin foil. There is silent electrical discharge, which I have said, and ozone is prepared from the atmospheric oxygen. Now silent electric discharge, you have to mention it because there cannot be any sort of flash, right? There cannot be any sort of sparking like that. It is an endothermic reaction, and for 142 kilojoules per mole energy is given out, okay, in this process. Now coming up to the properties, it is a pale blue glass, it is a dark blue liquid, or it is a violet black solid. Okay, it has a characteristic smell, and out of O2 and O3, which is paramagnetic? This is a question. When we see the atomic configuration of O2, there is 2p4, and when we draw the p orbital here, we can see that there is presence of unpaired electron, that means it is paramagnetic. And in O3, from the molecular orbital theory diagram, we can say that O3 is diamagnetic. And out of O3 and O3, which is more oxidizing? Now we know O3, when it breaks down, it gives a nascent oxygen and O2 as molecule. Now this nascent oxygen is mainly responsible for performing as an oxidizing agent. Okay, now because of releasing nascent oxygen, O3 behaves like a oxidizing agent. So this is the answer. Now here I am discussing about the oxidizing property of ozone with few metals and few sulfides. Okay, it oxidizes PbS to PbSO4, and this oxygen is same as this. Similarly HCl to Cl2 and O2. Similarly Ki to I2 and give HiO3, SO to SO3, SO2 to SO3, and similarly O2, and this way. So reducing action of ozone can reduce the hydrogen peroxide. Okay, H2O2 plus O3 gives H2O plus O2, BaO2 plus O3 gives BaO plus O2. Okay, this is barium oxide, BaO. Addition reaction, I have already said that when you take any sort of alkene and react it with ozone, this sort of addition reaction is occurring, right? A heart-like structure is formed, and the bond is cleaved in such a manner like this. Okay, and 2 moles of formaldehyde in this case is formed where I have taken ethene. Okay, now next question is, how is O2 estimated quantitatively? Okay, quantitatively means in numbers. Okay, now step 1, there is treatment of O3 done with potassium iodide. Okay, now we take O3 which breaks down to O2 and the nascent oxygen, then we take Ki, which is the potassium iodide, we take H2O plus the nascent oxygen which was given out. So we obtain KOH plus I2. Now we add these two reaction, the nascent oxygen get cancelled out, so this thing is formed. Now this I2 which you are getting here, okay, before that it is needed to mention that borate buffer is used and the pH of 9.2 is maintained over here. Now this iodine which is obtained here, step 2, there is titration of iodine done with the sodium thiosulfate, which is the Na2H2O3. Okay, which gives the sodium thiocyanate, Na2S4O6, and sodium iodide. Okay, so when sodium iodide is formed, this starch we know is used here as an indicator. Okay, next is, what is your telling of mercury or Hg? Okay, now Hg, when you react it with ozone, we have seen just now, it forms HgO plus O2, right? HgO means mercurous oxide. When ozone reacts with mercury, it loses its meniscus, right? Meniscus is this thing, and tend to stick to the walls of the glass container and leading to the formation of mercurous oxide. Okay, here the resonance structure of canonical structure of ozone is given. This is resonance stabilized, I have told. Now simple oxides, formation of simple oxide. Now how simple oxides are formed? When binary oxygen combines with another element, right? Acidic oxide, basic oxide. Similarly, I have already mentioned, when you take a non-metal and react it with H2O, H2CO is formed, which is a sort of acid because it is a non-metal, right? When you take MgO plus H2SO4, neutralization reaction is occurring. So acid plus base is giving salt plus water, And when you take amphoteric oxide, here Al2O3 is acting as a base. When you take a strong acid, right, giving AlCl3 plus 3H2O, and when Al2O3 we are taking a strong base NaOH, it is giving sodium aluminate NaAlO2 plus 2H2O. Okay, here it is acting as an acid. Coming to sulfur, there are two kinds of sulfur. Actually, there are three kinds of sulfur, but in our syllabus there is two kinds of sulfur, right? For sulfur, there is two types of sulfur. One is the rhombic sulfur, and another one is the monoclinic sulfur. The rhombic sulfur is also called the alpha sulfur, and the monoclinic is also called the beta sulfur. Color, this is yellow translucent, that is yellow transparent. The melting and boiling point are 114 and 119 degree, and density is also given here. Now the solubility, both rhombic and monoclinic sulfur are insoluble in water, but rhombic sulfur is soluble in carbon disulfide, benzene and alcohol, and your monoclinic sulfur is insoluble in carbon disulfide, alcohol and C6H6, which is benzene. This is the differentiating point. When you take the stability, this is stable below 96 degree temperature, and this is unstable at a temperature below 96 degree temperature. This is the structure, which is a Packard ring like structure and having a bond angle of 107 degrees, and this is the ground structure where the upper bond angle is 205.7 and the below one is the 102.2, which is a chair form structure. Now what is transition temperature? It is a temperature at which both the crystalline forms of sulfur are existing in co-equilibrium, okay, which is 95.6 for monoclinic and rhombohedral structure. Now what happens when sulfur is passed over concentrated sulfuric acid? Now when sulfur is passed over concentrated sulfuric acid, you have to remember that concentrated sulfuric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. It oxidizes sulfur to SO2. This is the reaction I have already mentioned. Now what happens when SO2 is passed through aqueous phase where it is have 3 valency? I take FeCl3 plus SO2, okay. Now FeCl3, it is becoming reduced to FeCl2, okay. See, the oxidation number is being reduced, plus HCl, one Cl is left, plus HCl plus H2SO4, right. Now the ionic reaction is shown accordingly. Coming to the chemical properties of sulfur, okay. Now sulfur is reacting with various kinds of metal. SO2 plus NaOH give Na2SO3. Reaction with NaOH, okay. So this will be NaOH. I am sorry, I have wrote this wrong. I am sorry. This will be your NaOH plus, come down straight to here, okay. So NaOH plus H2O plus SO2 give NaHSO3. Now chlorine, when you take sulfur dioxide with chlorine, you obtain the SO2Cl2, and when you get H2S with sulfur dioxide, you get H2S S plus H2O, okay. Now when you take O2 plus sulfur dioxide in presence of vanadium pentoxide, SO3 is obtained, and when you take SO2 plus HO2O in water, a reversible reaction is occurring and sulfuric acid is being formed, okay. Now preparation of sulfur dioxide by the combustion process. When you take iron pyrites and perform combustion, you obtain Fe2O3, which is the ferrous oxide, okay, and SO2 is given out as a byproduct, okay. Now let's start with our important and interesting portion, which is the sulfuric acid, okay. Let's take the red color or the magenta color, okay. Now sulfuric acid, it is a very important portion. Sulfuric acid is also called the oil of vitriol or the king of chemical, because maximum of the chemicals are being created with the action of sulfuric acid on something of the other else, okay. So the manufacture of sulfuric acid is performed by the contact process. I have told just now repeatedly. Here there is catalytic oxidation of the SO2. So this is the vanadium pentoxide, pressure of 2 to 3 atmosphere is maintained and temperature of 720 Kelvin. We are doing this. SO2 plus O2 gives 2 SO3. Step 2 is the absorption of the SO3, and with H2SO4. H2SO4 previously prepared is taken within this way, okay. H2SO4 plus SO3 gives H2S2O7. Now this item is called, this thing is called oleum, okay, OLEUM. it is mentioned here. Okay, now this oleum is diluted with water to obtain 96 to 98% of H2SO4 according to our use. So what is happening, I am summing up in the contact process. First, there is catalytic oxidation of the sulfur dioxide, that is sulfur dioxide, it is getting converted to sulfur trioxide in presence of your vanadium pentoxide, which is acting as a catalyst, and the pressure of 2 to 3 atmosphere is kept, and temperature of about 720 Kelvin is maintained, right. Next, there is absorption of the SO3 with H2SO4, right, and oleum is formed, right, which is H2S2O7, and then the oleum is diluted with the water to obtain 96 to 98% of H2SO4. Now is the physical properties. Okay, now it is a colorless liquid, it turns yellow with the presence of impurity, it has high boiling point and low viscosity, it is low volatile, and because of its high acidity. Now you have to remember that H2SO4, I have missed a point, it is a dibasic acid. H2SO4 is dibasic acid, okay, because it liberates 2 hydrogen in aqueous solution, okay. Accordingly, if they ask you what is HNO3, HNO3 is a monobasic acid, right. Now why does H2SO4 have high boiling point? Because they can form hydrogen bonding, intramolecular means with other molecules, right. Note, H2SO4 act as a good oxidizing agent, this is already told, and forms bond with water, which is told over here, which is the hydrogen bonding, okay. Why Ka2 is less than Ka1 for H2SO4 in aqueous state? Now Ka2 means the acidity, measure of acidity is done by Ka2. Now see, H2SO4, when you react with water, first step which is obtained is H3O plus and HSO4. Now in the second step, this HSO4 again you are reacting in with water. Now HSO4 plus H2, you get H3O plus again and SO4 minus. Now they are saying that the Ka2 is very less than Ka1, or Ka1 is greater than Ka2, because here it is already a negative molecule, okay. Okay, let's see for the first case. In the first case, H3O plus was removed from a neutral molecule, which is H2SO4, but in case 2, okay, HSO4 minus is already negative, and from negative it is difficult to extract another H3O plus or H plus from negative ion, so it is difficult, hence Ka value is decreased. Everything is mentioned here, okay. Next, coming to the oxidizing property of H2SO4. H2SO4 is a strong oxidizing agent, I have already mentioned. So let's see what is happening here. M means metal, so the layout of the reaction is similar to this. So when you take Zn plus H2SO4, you obtain ZnSO4 plus H2. Now H2SO4 in this case is dilute, okay, and for concentrated, when you take, you get metallic sulfate, sulfur dioxide and water, okay. Suppose when you take Cu plus H2SO4, in this case H2SO4 is your concentrated, let's write here concentrated, means concentrated. Now Cu is concentrated, CuSO4 SO2 plus H2O. See, the layout of some sort of this is being maintained. Okay, moving on, reaction with metallic halides, okay. Now metallic halide is MX, where X is iodine or bromine. Now MX plus H2SO4 plus MnO2 is acting as a catalyst, okay, so gives MSO4 SO2 plus H2 plus X2, okay. So here we are taking potassium iodide plus H2SO4, so we get A2SO4 and H2 plus iodine plus SO2, okay. Now if you take NaI, we get NHSO4, I2SO2 and your water, okay. Okay, if this X or hydride is case of fluorine, okay, is fluorine, suppose we take calcium fluoride CaF2 with H2SO4, we get CaSO4 and H2F, which is the hydrogen fluoride, okay. Now if this is sulfur, this is sulfur FeS, then if you get FeSO4 plus H2S. This is apart from that. Okay, now we know sulfuric acid acts as a strong dehydrating agent, right? See, it is extracting the completely water, and black color carbon is black, right? So black, this is when you add sulfuric acid to your sugar or glucose, any sort of like that, you obtain a black color because the water is coming out and only a pure carbon, this is not base, I'm sorry, this will be black. Okay, black color carbon is being left behind. Okay, that means it is dehydrating, means it is removing the water molecules. This water molecule is coming out completely. See, 12 carbon is left. So precipitation reaction, moving on. When you take BaCl2 in H2SO4, we obtain BaSO4, which is a precipitate. Okay, so precipitate is formed. Next, oxidizing property of H2SO4 with non-metal. C and H2SO4, it oxidizes to CO2, SO2 and H2O, right? Now when you take sulfur with H2SO4, you get sulfur dioxide and H2O. Similarly, when you take phosphorus, it is a very important reaction. You get H3PO4, acid is formed. H3PO4 is phosphoric acid. Okay, I am writing down here, trying to write PHOS. This is your phosphoric okay. Moving on, there is a question, with the help of reaction explain the acidity of H2SO4. So we know acid plus base gives base, acid plus base gives salt plus water. So when you take NaHSO4 plus H2SO4, whether it is concentrated or dilute, it does not even matter, you get NaHSO4 and H2O. But if this, in this case, if this is concentrated, this was dilute. Okay, this was dilute, and below this one is concentrated. Okay, you get N2SO4 plus H2O. Now it turns blue litmus red. This is the indicator of acidity, right? Blue litmus red. You have to remember that. Now structure of H2SO4, it is a similar structure like this. Okay, this is the resonance stabilized structure. Shape is tetrahedral and hybridization is sp3. Okay, moving on, there is group 17 element. Before coming to group 17 elements, let's revise sulfuric acid again. Okay, let's start with the revision of sulfuric acid. Okay, sulfuric acid here. Let's have some water. So sulfuric acid, this is also called the oil of vitriol or the king of chemical, right? Because majority of the other chemicals are prepared from the sulfuric acid, right? Okay, just a minute. So for the preparation of sulfuric acid, the process which is performed is called the contact process, where there is catalytic oxidation of the sulfur dioxide, where SO2 plus O2 gives SO3. Okay, catalyst is taken here, which is the V2O5, which is the vanadium pentoxide. Temperature of 720 Kelvin and pressure of 2 to 3 atmosphere is maintained. Following that, absorption of SO3 is performed with H2SO4, which gives oleum, which is the H2S2O7. Okay, for the step 3, there is a dilution of the oleum with water. We can obtain the 96 to 98% of H2SO4. Moving on, there is physical properties. I have already said it is a colorless liquid. It is having low volatility and high acidity. Okay, it is very low viscosity. It has low viscosity. Most important is that it is a dibasic acid. It gives 2 H plus ion in water. Okay, it turns yellow in the presence of impurities. Okay, next is, why does H2SO4 have high boiling point? Because anything which has high boiling point, it is due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonding. It becomes heavy, so it becomes heavy to escape as gas because of this hydrogen bonding with other molecules. Okay, note H2SO4 is a good oxidizing agent and forms bond with water. Okay, now why Ka2 is less than Ka1 for H2SO4? I have repeated that when you dissolve H2SO4 in water, it gives H3O plus and H2SO4 minus. And secondly, for the Ka2, the HSO4 minus plus H2O gives H3O plus and SO4 minus. Now in the first case, you are extracting the HCO plus from the neutral molecule, and in the second case, so the Ka1 is more, right? And when you extract the H2SO4 from the second time, from when you extract the H3O plus from the HSO4 minus, it is already a negative molecule, see, so it is difficult to extract, right? So the acidity will generally be low. So similar thing is observed here. Okay, next is the oxidizing property of the H2SO4. Okay, format of this is maintained. So when you take metal plus H2SO4 dilute, ZnSO4 plus H2 is formed. When it is concentrated, you obtain CuSO4 H2O plus SO2, right? Then when this metal is hydride, mind it is not fluorine, it is iodide or bromide. Okay, it is following a sort of reaction like this, like let's go directly to the example. So it is Ki plus H2SO4 gives K2SO4 plus SO2 plus H2O plus I2, and when it is sodium iodide with H2SO4, it gives NaHSO4 I2 plus H2O plus SO2, right? Next is if the X is fluorine. Now if you take CaF2 with H2SO4, you obtain CaSO4 plus 2HF, and when this is the other reaction, when you take FeS plus H2SO4, you obtain FeSO4 plus H2S. Okay, now the dry treating property of the sulfuric acid is demonstrated here. Now when you take any hydrocarbon, okay, any hydrocarbon you take, such as here it is taking glucose and this one is starch. Okay, when you treat it with H2SO4, black color carbon is deposited and the H2O, which is the water, is coming out. Okay, precipitation reaction, if you take BaCl2 plus H2SO4, BaSO4, which is a white color base, is obtained and HCl is a gas. Okay, next is the oxidizing property of H2SO4 with non-metal. Okay, now when you take C means carbon, which is a non-metal, and H2SO4, we obtain CO2, which is the carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and it's HO2. And when you take it is sulfur, you obtain sulfur dioxide and H2O, and when it is P means phosphorus plus H2SO4 give H3PO4, which is a strong acid, which is the phosphoric acid. Okay, with the help of reaction, explain the acidity of H2SO4. Okay, very good. So H2SO4 is a dibasic acid which turns blue litmus red. That's not the reaction, right? So we know acid plus base gives salt plus water. So when you take NaOH plus dilute sulfuric acid, we obtain sodium bisulfate, right, which is the NaHSO4 plus H2O. And when you take NaOH plus H2SO4 concentrated, it is Na2SO4 plus H2O. Okay, now this is the structure of H2SO4 is given. This is tetrahedral and sp3 hybridization. This is the end of group 16 elements. Okay, group 18 elements I'm coming. Group 18 elements is done. Group 17 elements I'm coming just in a while.